Math of ESP, presented to you by Peasant Productions, because I'm too damn bored to afford anything else. Why Math of ESP, why it works even if you don't believe in it. Okay, discussing International Space Station, the ideas, the understandings, where it goes, what it can become, the unlimitedness of being up there, out there amongst the stars, even if it's only your local planets, and doing something that actually works. Okay, as I stated before, down here on Earth, we've gotten into the concept that money is worth something. I've yet to see anybody drink gold, or silver, or platinum, or paper dollars, whether they're pesos, or US dollars, or London pounds, or francs, or rubles, or, you name it. All of that effort in creating that money is just that. It's a convenience of something created to create convenience. All of your food, on the other hand, has value, doesn't it? You can eat food, even if it's poisoned. You can still fill your belly with it stupidly. Or because you have no reason not to try and eat the poison because everything else is poison around you. But the food is worth something. Water is worth something. Why do you think the 0.001% elite rich are buying up every water source they can, getting every government to agree that Nestle Corporation or this corporation or that corporation owns all the water rights? Because then they get to charge all the little peons for what they absolutely have to have for food and for water to drink and to water crops and to feed their cattle and their chickens and their pigs and their horses and whatever else. Their parrots, They're birds. Everybody's got, pet birds and pet doggies and pet kitties. What are you going to do when there's no place to get a cup of water? Because it's all poisoned, it's all deadly, it's all worthless. Or it's all owned by a major corporation that doesn't let you have any. Yeah. You see war zones? You see what happens, how the refugees are leaving Syria, and they left Gaza, and they left this place, and they left that place, you name it. What's the problem? In every case, somebody's gone in there and bombed the snot out of their water supplies, out of their food supplies, out of their hospital system, out of their transportation. And of course, 99% of the time, it's the United States that's funding that group of terrorists to go in there and do that. The fact that the United States citizens don't want to admit it doesn't mean that, 30 or 40 years of research of watching it happen, predicting where the next place was going to be by what kind of things were going on, what the government was doing, what the government was saying. Yeah. So, that's why I say you need to really stop. You people need to stop and think. Okay? Like I said, I don't have a problem with challenges. I don't have a problem with people questioning what I say. I don't have a problem with that. And I'm one of the smartest people on your planet because I'm one of the only ones here on this entire planet that is not suicide orientated. Anybody that stands up and says only my group matters is basically contemplating suicide. You are connecting yourself to suicide by A, genetics. Only my little group matters. Okay, well that is superior breed, illogics. You're going to interbreed and interbreed and interbreed until there's literally nothing but morons and autistics, you name it. You definitely, as they say, fucked yourself. You are denying anybody else the right to exist. Therefore, you have nobody to deal with. You have no clientele as a business of operations because you've eliminated everybody but yourself. Okay? You're like a person in a 10-person rowboat, and he wants it all to himself, so he throws everybody overboard, and then he realizes he can only row with one oar because the boat's too big for him to try and use 2 oars at the same time and be able to make any kind of forward passage. Okay? So again, you're extremely illogical people. You have pushed the genetic button for human beings. You have pushed every genetic mutation button possible by dumping GMOs into your system all over the place. And believe me, folks, when you release, 4, 5, 6 United States worth of GMO non-reproducing seed pollen into the air, that pollen will get everywhere. That pollen will mix with all kinds of stuff. You do not know what plants are genetically close enough to it for it to attach itself to and bring that GMO anti-life gene into it. So you do not know what's going to reproduce. You do not know what it's going to do. You do not know if it's going to cause major problems. For instance, the high toxicity of Monsanto's Roundup is so deadly that half of America's tainted water supply from Roundup alone. And Monsanto's reply is to make its variation of crops more resistant to Roundup and thereby create a larger problem, not a smaller one, because they are once again releasing a badly defined genetic imprint into the entire food chain. You have had many millions upon millions of GMO salmon now released into the oceans, where you have no ability to control what they will do, where they will go, what they will breed or not breed with, what species will think they're breeding properly and find out that the guys have blanks, they're shooting blanks. Umpteen dozen different types of problems, and you have no control over it. You have no element of it. And like I say, anytime somebody jumps up and says, "Oh, God wouldn't allow that," that person has just declared they're greater than a God. Therefore, they are insane, aren't they? Yeah. They may not be totally mentally insane, but they are definitely insane, and they have no logic, because you cannot be greater than a God if you're in a physical body. Okay? Why do you think I sit up here and tell you, don't believe me? Go out there and look at your freaking world. Look at what's going on. Look what's happening. I use 300 plus news sources. It takes me hours to go through my news. It takes me hours to go through all the different variations. In some cases, they're just, total redneck bimbop Donald Trumpers who are screaming, "Donald Trump's a god! And Russia's being mean and doing all this stuff." And they're total PR. But nonetheless, they're in my feed. I can go look at their stuff, read what it is. Go ahead and fact check stuff. See if anything they are putting forward has actually been said by anybody, which 99% of the time it isn't. Because Donald Trump people don't want to fact check. Donald Trump doesn't want to fact check. How do you fact check that? You go back and look at the purge he did. You look at what he does. He goes and shuts down any kind of retaliatory commentary so that it does not get a chance to have it say it is not allowed. It is exactly like the judge in the courtroom. For me, back, I think it was 1999, to the best of my knowledge, it was 1999, the Garrett only got up there and said, "Hey, fuck you, Mr. Vanderhoof, you're in my courtroom, and I own this courtroom, and hey, golly, I'm not going to let you have any human rights, or any civil rights, or any kind of thing. Anything you do is not going to be allowed into law. I'm not going to let any evidence be entered." You know, he gave his big egotistical spiel. There was something like 100 people in that room, and not a damn person opened their mouth to say anything was wrong. I let I'm sorry, not Trump, let Mr. Only know he was wrong. I told Only right there and there, that violates every law, and boy, you just picked yourself one hell of a fight. 2.5 years later, they stepped off the bench. Not because I filed paperwork, because I publicly embarrassed him so many times, so many ways, so many places. He committed so much perjury. So yeah. That's how dumb you are. That's how bad you are. That's how deeply ingrained you are in the idea that corruption must exist, because it's only good if it's corrupt. You stop and look around you and see what's going on and start thinking about, you know, if you'd been in space 30 years ago, if NASA had actually allowed people to go into space and start doing stuff and working, and not just being one of the, 1% elite rich people, you'd have a planet right now that was probably salvageable, because we would have gotten rid of all the nuclear sites, we would have removed almost all the nuclear waste. You would not have had a Fukushima issue, because that power plant would have been shut down decades ago. It's that simple. It was a solution. You do not have a solution now. And I have yet to see any human being put up any kind of solution, because radioactivity, what do you as humans do? You bury it in the ground and you throw it in your oceans. Okay, fine. Your oceans are now polluted to the point where your entire food chain is collapsing. Your land is so polluted that its entire food chain is collapsing. Its food chain is dependent upon the ocean. The ocean is exceedingly hot and going up fast. There's nothing you can do to stop it. You got lunatics running around saying it's going to be a mini ice age here. That's why it's snowing all over the place, because they do not study weather. They do not study the logics of the jet patterns. They don't understand that things are bent and twisted right now and reconforming to a whole series of things. Now, they all want to say it's just one little thing, and it's this one little thing. When you become, and I don't think there are any globalists on this planet, when you become a global conscious entity, one of the first things that happens is your ego goes through goes literally through the floor and grounds itself out. And you start realizing that a human being is not more important than a mosquito, and especially not to gods. You do not have the ability to say that there is not a soul in a mosquito. You do not have the ability to say that a mountain doesn't have some kind of a soul. You do not have the ability to produce any evidence that such things do not exist. The fact that you don't have any equipment to test such a thing is not evidence of it not existing, any more than you sitting inside of a room, shutting all the windows and doors, and claiming that you and you alone are the only thing that exists in the universe. That's how stupid you are when you say, oh, there's nothing on the other side of the wall. It's like I said a long time ago, if you have a wall, something is outside of it. So if you have a universe that has a wall, something is outside of it. There is more out there than you know how to record, you know how to photograph, you know how to contact, you know how to test. You don't have the ability, you don't have the ability. End of statement. Okay? Don't jump up and down saying that, oh, it doesn't exist because I say so. You don't have proof.